guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Walker Ford in Clearwater, Florida, and guess what? We have something a little different. This is a 2019 Dodge Challenger Hellcat. But before we dive into this freshly traded in Hellcat, let's talk a little bit about what this car represents. It was 1970 when the first Challenger hit the streets, the peak of the original muscle car days. What's wonderful, when you fast forward to the 21st century, it truly is because of this Hellcat why we have this horsepower war all over again. When the Hellcat first hit the streets, 707 horsepower, full under warranty. Now the great news is, with this being a 2019 Hellcat, we actually have more horsepower, 10 more horsepower to make it a nice 717 horsepower. And with this being the narrow body Challenger Hellcat, you have a top speed of almost 200 miles per hour. Now, with somebody else taking the depreciation hit on this freshly traded in example, is this, what I want to try to do is, I want to try to wrap our minds around the question, is this the best muscle car for your hard-earned money by allowing somebody to take that depreciation hit from new? So let's go ahead, dive into this 2019 Hellcat. Right off the bat, like I was saying, styling on point with the original Challenger. Even with our Mustangs here, nobody's doing better than the Dodge with the Challenger, and definitely Mopar no car, right? Right off the bat, we come to the front of the business. On each corner, you're gonna have your dual light setup. Now with the Hellcat, what they did was they hollowed out that interior portion of the headlight there to allow more airflow to that airbox. And then of course you're gonna get LED daytime running lamps and that projector beam style headlight. Love the SRT badge with that screaming Hellcat street and racing technology. That's the arm that brought us the Viper, brought us the SRT4, and definitely bringing us this Hellcat. In the lower corners, you are gonna have full functionality. So everything that you see is functional. Massive front splitter. Victor and I are gonna have our lunch. This is his corner. I got my corner over there. That's what we're gonna use as a table because it's so massive. It's gonna give us downforce, stop air from going underneath this Challenger, and really just gives it a great look. Now, as we come across the center grille, I love the egg crate style grille, flat black, both top and the bottom. And really just, like I said, with the 4 headlights, gives it that wonderful Challenger look that everybody loves, especially in Sublime. This color is called Sublime, and this color is plucked right from the palette, the color palette back in 1970. Now, with this being a 2019 Challenger, you have your twin inlet hood. So both of these inlets are functional. Love the flat black, and I think we would both agree that with the Sublime color, the black accents makes it pop. You can see the nice rise on both of these twin inlets. That's gonna help force feed air into that 6.2 liter supercharged engine. And one thing I wanna do is I wanna commend the previous owner of this car for taking the PDI, those yellow PDI strips off the corner. It's nice to just have a clean, flat black look. We don't need to have yellow or pink or anything attached to the bottom. Now, as we come around the bend, here's what we're working with, wheel and tire setup. You have this nice 5-spoke, flat black wheel with the SRT logo there, 20-inch wheel, 275 on the width, 40 series sidewall. Look at the size of these 6-piston Brembo. So when you're at the drag strip, when you're doing some fun, maybe on the local roads around where you live, and shh, I won't tell the police, I promise. It's nice to have the go, but it's also nice to have that braking capability, and you can just see how massive those calipers are. I could wear these as shoes. Maybe I should try that once. Put on a pair of Brembos, lace up some Brembos. But you have your 2-piece rotor, 15-inch rotor. 2-piece means you have the aluminum hat and the steel rotor. Really nice, clean setup. As we go down the side, I love this hard indentation all the way around the top of the fender. And then there is our Hellcat logo. Nice bright silver. I'm gonna zonk it. I'm actually thinking that black would have been the way to go. So I don't know if that was something that Dodge did or the previous owner, but I would like just a blacked out Hellcat logo, especially with Sublime. Color match mirror caps, and even the way that they design these mirror caps mimic the original 1970 Challenger. We come back on that flat roof, and what's great about this flat style roof, even the passengers in the back seat are gonna have plenty of headroom. Even if you're tall like myself, 6 feet tall, Nice large corner window coming into that rear area. And when we look at the rear of the vehicle, the great news is Dodge didn't go cheap on the rear brake setup. So you actually have the Brembo 4-piston calipers out back, slotted and ventilated rotors, and then to help try to get the traction to the ground, you're now getting that 275 out the back to help to get this thing launched, doing a 0 to 60 launch or at the quarter mile. Love the way they have the blacked out fuel cap, that old style. You open this up, there's your actual real cap to fuel her up, but really clean look, gives it that nice Challenger-esque look. This one has the optional SRT race style trunklet spoiler. You can see how massive it is. This spoiler is actually wider, it's flatter, and it's wider than your standard spoiler that you get on the back. I'm really digging it, especially the way it kind of waterfalls down on each corner. And then as we drop down, you have that iconic Dodge badge there. That name so synonymous with racing, with performance. The Dodge brothers started this company all the way back in 1902. It's crazy to see where we're at now. Full LED taillights, and the way that they did these, same story as the front end of the business. It mimics the old style. My one zonk I don't like about these Challengers is the exhaust. Now, it's nice the way it's flush. It's nice the way it's blacked out. It just looks sort of like a vacuum cleaner. Like I want to vacuum up this road. Maybe you're vacuuming up the competition at the drag strip, but I would think on a Hellcat, quad tips would look pretty sinister. And then a very, very simple lower bumper area, no actual diffuser or anything like that, but definitely harks back to the muscle car original days. But let's pop the hood and see the heart of this Hellcat. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a hydraulic hood strut, which is nice. And then I want to kind of have Victor focus on this area. This is the inlet. So you have the 2 snorkels up top. This is where all that air is going to go to the open air box. I love the SRT badge with the Hellcat logo. And here is our open air box with that K&N reusable performance air filter. But the real talking point is that supercharged engine. Talk about Mopar no car, because you're looking at 6.2 liters of supercharged goodness, 717 horsepower, 656 pound-feet of torque. It's all mated to a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. The car weighs 4,448 pounds, so she's not the lightest, but check out these numbers. If you're able to get traction 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, top speed 199 miles an hour. Here's a little fun fact for you. When you're doing 200, you're traveling the length of a football field every second. Quarter mile, 11.2 seconds in the quarter mile. And MPGs, you're probably just going to want to make sure that you have a very large gas charge account with your favorite gas station. 13 in the city, 22 on the highway. This has 262 gears out back, and like I was saying, that SRT performance rear spoiler. What I love about the engine compartment is obviously that beautiful supercharger up top, the way that it has supercharged and Hemi on those covers, but you still have that bright orange. You still have that bright orange on the valve covers. That's synonymous with those Dodge and Mopar products. But why don't we go ahead? If you have a tissue, I definitely got a couple tissues. I got a towel. If you're ready for an eargasm, so am I. Let's fire up this Hellcat Challenger and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're in the 2019 Challenger Hellcat, that beautiful Sublime color. I know you're asking yourself, Joe, we've been talking about muscle cars. I'm curious which one to put into my garage. What's the best bang for the buck? How much is this one? So this particular Challenger Hellcat with only 4,200 miles, actually 4,287 miles, Walker Ford has it priced at $68,888. To give you a reference point, brand new, the MSRP on this was $73,000. It has the tech package, it's got that performance spoiler, it has the nice touches that you want extra in your Challenger. Let's see what they look like. To the door panels. Now, up top, you're gonna get soft material. Not my favorite texture. It reminds me of an elephant, but it is very soft. You do have leather on the back portion of the door panel, on the armrest, the contrast stitching, and I like the way you have a cup holder up front, right by that Alpine optional sound system, but then you have a Twinkie holder at the back of the door panel, which is great, because I promise you, you're gonna want those race-winning Twinkies, because with 717 horsepower, you're gonna be kicking some butt out there at the drag strip. Now, when we get to the dash, there's our SRT logo, Viper, SRT4, so much history, the Challenger Hellcat, Charger Hellcat, Red Eye, Demon, everything else. We got the Super Stock coming up soon. We have that wonderful 8.4-inch Uconnect system, super clean on the graphics, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Look how nice it is. I could put on ventilated seats in my 717 horsepower muscle car. Couldn't do that in 1970, not even if you try. You probably have to have somebody blow air on your backside. That's your ventilated seat. Kind of weird, but that's what they did back then. But you have for your passenger, you got your heated steering wheel. We then, of course, can easily get into our SRT pages. So here I could go ahead and select Sport. That's going to change all the parameters of how everything operates. You even have your performance pages. Takes a few seconds while that's loading. I do like this machined turn look that they have, and the way that everything's kind of driver focused in here really makes sense. You have a bright red start stop button, but back to the screen, look at this. You got gauges. So important when you're at the drag strip to make sure everything is running perfectly with your baby. We could go into engine horsepower readouts, your G-force meter. So it's great that they have all these wonderful controls for you. You could go back to home. Here's our different setups. You even have an actual dyno where you could actually make that all happen right there as we're going down the road. Of course, you have line lock. You have all of the things, launch control, to make this thing one heck of a beast. Now let me put into reverse, which we're never going to do at a drag strip unless you are lining up at the lights. But really nice to have the trajectory. Kind of grainy, but you know what? It is large and it takes up the whole screen area, which is perfect. Now, as we drop down, if you don't like touching the screen, you can get into your controls, radio controls. Here's your SRT performance pages you could get into. You could actually shut the screen off, which is great, because I feel like this screen at the drag strip would be a distraction. So you could shut the screen off. Look at the leather. Look at the stitch work. This is that ZF 8-speed torque flight transmission. That's the fancy name that they give it, but that's going to be shifting you so fast within nanoseconds. You got a nice little place here for breath mints. The breath mints are not for you. That's after you smoke your competition. You want to help them with that smoky taste in their mouth? Have the breath mints for them. They're going to appreciate it after you kick their rear end. Love the machine turned everywhere. And then look what we have. Yes, we have the red key. So you have the red key and you have the black key. This is if you're going to valet or let somebody drive it. This is for you. If you let somebody valet this car, you're nuts. I'm not even sure if you let somebody else drive it besides you, but this is how you get 717 horsepower. This is how you get about 485 horsepower. Still a lot of horsepower, but it's nice that they give you that option. On the side here, you have a nice little cargo net for an emergency Snickers, and you have a 12 volt. So you're definitely gonna wanna get a radar detector for this, because budget some money for tickets. It's just gonna happen. This thing's gonna make you do bad things. Very, very bad things, I promise you. Leather is great. Open this up. I know you can't see, but I could easily stack up 8 Twinkies, like stand them up, 8 Twinkies in there, and you got another 12 volt, 2 USBs and an aux jack, and then the seats. Full leather with the SRT badge, nice soft bolstering, and then of course, you're gonna get that adjustability that's great for the passenger and the driver. Seats are comfy. I feel like I'm sitting on a lazy boy. They're not really the best if you're gonna autocross or road course one of these, but definitely for the drag strip, they're spot on the money. Plenty of headroom to put a helmet on because you wanna be safe. Always wear protection. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I wanna show you behind the wheel of this Hellcat. All right guys, business time. Behind the wheel, you have your controls, real easy to get to. My only complaint about sitting behind the wheel of this vehicle is you got the smallest dead pedal in God's creation. So I wish that they would give you a muscle car style dead pedal, but you do have a beautiful aluminum brake pedal and throttle. It's just you're gonna wanna support yourself, especially when you launch this. And if you're running any kind of, you know, cheater slicks or full-on drag slicks or drag radials, you're gonna want a bigger dead pedal to support yourself, because this thing's gonna hit, and it's gonna hit you hard, just like a Bronco kicking you right in your back, but it's gonna feel good, I promise. It's gonna be the best pain in your back you ever felt. Steering wheel, leather, the stitch work is great. I wish they would have put the Hellcat logo here instead of SRT, and this chrome trim can go. I'm zonking the silver here, very easily to scratch. They could have put some other material, I think, or just leave it black, to be honest with you. Paddles to go up and down the 8-speed on the smaller side. So I think the zonk for the driver's side, the business end, is that there's some small issues here. Small paddles, the small dead pedal, but one thing that they got perfect were those gauges. I love the retro look with your tach, analog speedometer, and then you got a bunch of digital readouts and displays that you could put in the center there, which makes it wonderful. More gauges, really super clean graphics, nice display, easy to use, which is wonderful. But overall, the amount of room you have, so you compare this to Camaro, more interior space. You compare this to a Mustang, more interior space. We're not gonna get into the rear seats, but let me tell you, 6 foot tall Joe Rady can sit back there. So from a muscle car usability standpoint, you're gonna be able to use this more effectively than the competition. Even the trunk space, which I'm not gonna show you, I have that in other reviews, tons of space in there. Mustang has a little bit more, but it definitely has more space than the Camaro. What I wanna do is I wanna dedicate more of this video to some on-throttle action. So if you're ready, I'm ready. We got the red key. Let's take this Hellcat for a spin. All right, guys, we're leaving Walker Ford. We're in the 2019 Challenger Hellcat. Nice, slow roll. Let's see how that 8-speed automatic does on throttle. Yeah! So right away, the nose shoots for the sky like we're a 747 ready for takeoff. You get that great supercharger whine. More whine than in a Shelby GT500, a current GT500. And that torque flight 8-speed, yeah, I would love to road through my own gears. And guess what? On the standard Challenger, you can get a Tremec 6-speed, but the ZF 8-speed is very effective at shifting, not only fast, but also very smooth. Guys, one of the great things about muscle car version 2.0, especially with this Hellcat, is that it's a pussycat. It could be a Hellcat when you want it, but it could be a pussycat when you're just driving around town, and that's what makes it really a do-it-all kind of thing. So if you've been, you know, arm wrestling with your significant other, I know you've been tongue wrestling, but if you've been arm wrestling, saying, hey, I really want this Hellcat, and your significant other's like, well, do you really need that much power? You don't really need it. Of course you want it, but the great news is you could drive this car every single day, and that should be your selling point. Put aside the horsepower and say, hey, I'll go get the groceries every single day for the rest of my life and tongue wrestle you some more. So it's a win-win for everybody. But very smooth. Visibility is great out the front. Side mirrors work awesome. And like I said, if you're carrying passengers, this is the muscle car you want to pick them up in, because you're going to have the most room besides a Charger, which, remember, a Charger's a 4-door, so that's not comparing apples to apples with this car, but you definitely have more room, like I said, than a Mustang GT or the cave known as the interior of the Camaro. All right, guys, here we are from a dead stop. Are you ready for some on throttle? Let me make sure that I am in the right setting here. On throttle, here we go. Smoke him if you got him. Little bit of smoke. She hooks up and we are off. Oh my Lord, this thing. Wow. That's what's so great about these cars. They're just fun. The hell with moving your body. It's about moving your soul. And this car does it in a very special, rare way. And as you can see, difficult to get traction. Once you get rolling though, you will get up to speed very quickly. Turn in, pretty crisp. for a car that weighs almost 4,500 pounds, but you gotta be gingerly with that throttle or she's gonna bite. Here we go. See, from a roll, she sticks. Yeah. So the shifts are lightning fast. That supercharger whine is fantastic. It just kind of tickles your heart in such a wonderful way. And if it doesn't, then my question is, are you even alive? And are you a car person? Because this really just checks off all the boxes, from the color, the shape, the style. And for $68,000, it's a lot of car for the money. And being a 2019, you still have warranty, plenty of it. What a day and age to be a performance fan. On throttle! And then what the great news is, like I was telling you before, yes, you're gonna be able to go warp speed on throttle, but then when you gotta slow down, the Brembo calipers are gonna shed speed so nicely. It really is a unique car. Seeing the dual intake rise from the hood just really screams, hey, I'm a muscle car and I don't give a damn. The one downside is this is not much of a corner carver. Is feedback good? I have it in sport mode. I'm getting good feedback from the wheel. The seats just don't have the bolstering to hold you in through hard cornering, but boy, did they do this. Yeah. And then, like I said, when you got to shed speed, you just get on that pedal and you can shed the speed very, very quickly. As fast as it builds up, you can shed that speed. Very nicely done. Gauges are set up really well. The 8.4-inch Uconnect system is one of my favorite current infotainment systems, just because it's a good size, not too big, not too small, very fast reacting, and with the performance pages, you're getting a lot of flexibility and information for sure. All right, guys, you know, one more time for good luck. We got basically a shamrock color Sublime here, but on throttle, golly! I'm just glad to be able to share this awesome car with you. I think that for the money, this really is a muscle car that you need to park in your garage and get to enjoy. You can enjoy it every day, on the weekends, with your significant other, with your kids. Share the car experience, and this is definitely one to do it in. But we need to get back to Walker Ford before there's no rubber left on these tires. So I will see you in a muscle car minute. All right, guys, amazing day, amazing time with this Challenger Hellcat. I definitely got to thank Frank Walker, Weston Walker, Tracy, Benji, Mark, Austin, Greg, the whole crew here. They are huge Ladies Rise fans, and they know that I know that they know that you know that this is what you want to see. You want to see some nice muscle car power, whether it's Ford or some of the things that they get traded in. Is this the best muscle car for your hard-earned money? Well, let's think about it. For $68,000, you could get a new Camaro ZL1. For $68,000, you could get a Shelby GT350, standard GT350. Obviously, you could get those pre-owned as well. But I think if you want a cream puff with 4,200 miles in Sublime, narrow body with that supercharger for 68 grand, I think that this one is definitely one that should be on the top end of your list. And I think one drive and you're gonna be bit by the Mopar muscle car bug. I know I definitely was driving this, but if it's muscle cars like these that you wanna keep seeing on the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Ladies Rise family. If you wanna help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description, get yourself some Ladies Rise merch. Gotta give it up to Crown Vic, king of the camera, king of photography, possibly king of the world. We're still debating that, so we'll find out more. But thank you, Victor, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.